Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the LA84 Foundation. As I'm sure most of you know, the foundation is the legacy of the 1984 Olympic Games. For the past 3 decades, the foundation has managed Southern California's share of the Olympic surplus. The year 2014 marks the 30th anniversary of the 84 Games, and this is one of a number of events that the foundation will have over the next several months celebrating those games. We're going to begin today with some remarks from Councilman Tom LaBonge, who represents the 4th District. Mr. LaBonge, as many of you know, is a tireless and enthusiastic promoter of Los Angeles. He is also someone who has a deep knowledge of this city's history. LA Times columnist Steve Lopez recently wrote, "As a politician, LaBonge is more of a lineman than a quarterback. He's happier in the neighborhoods working on constituent service than in City Hall." Earlier in his career, Mr. LaBonge was the chief deputy to Council President John Ferraro, who was instrumental in bringing the Los Angeles Games here in '84. And since those games, he's been a good friend of this foundation, who, when we've needed to negotiate the labyrinth of city government, has been there for us. So it's with pleasure I introduce Tom LaBonge.
Thank you for that very nice introduction. I would love to be a quarterback, but I was a center, and so that's how it worked out. But what a center it is right here at the foundation, and look back 30 years to see where we are today, to see where the fruit has fallen on sports fields throughout Southern California and beyond. This is really a testament to those games. I worked for the late, great John Ferraro, who along with the late, great Tom Bradley, who I was on his youth council when Mark Ridley Thomas was just Mark Thomas, so that's a time frame for you all. Long, long time ago. That opportunity I had to see the city at a young age and to see these very important individuals strive for greatness beyond. There was a whole campaign against the Olympic Games after Montreal, and they had an 8-7 vote. Marvin Browdy, who you don't look as an athletic type, was the 8th vote on that, which was so important. And John Ferraro, because back then, now they do things by computer, there was a physical file, and they couldn't kill the games unless the physical file was in the council chambers. John kept it in the lower right of his desk. Often I look at that desk, and I remember that moment. But that all being said, we got the games, which was so special. But even you go back to 32, and you go back to 1920. And is David Simon going to be here today? And he'll talk probably about William Garland just a little, that he was from Los Angeles, and he said, we want the games. And he went to Antwerp and found the games in 1920, and they said, you're from Los Angeles? Where's Los Angeles? And they said, build us a stadium. And what did we do in 23? We built the Coliseum, and once we got the games for 32, it was expanded. We hosted the world. What an amazing thing, because just 100 years ago, right now, we had, David, I told you the William Garland story, so when you just came in, that you told me, you see what the city has done and expanded and beyond. And then again in '84, I do still continue to criticize Jimmy Carter to take away the opportunity to go to Moscow, which was also such a bad move, and we didn't do any bad moves this time. And the president picked good people to represent us throughout in the games in Russia coming up here in a few weeks. All being said, it takes real big, tall leaders. And Mr. Garcetti's first letter to out the room 305 in City Hall was to requested Barry Sanders to send a letter to the Olympic Committee of the United States to say, come to the game, have the games here in 2024. But it's all about making people know about it. And these games, not just a testament to athletics, but the testament to the arts and the culture. The Art Festival was so important. Since the Olympic Games, I believe there's 14 new major museums, from the Getty to the expansion of LACMA, all the way down, that came out of that. The arts part of the museum of the Olympic Games was so important. So all of that is so nice to be here today, and you're going to hear some great panelists here. I want to introduce Carolyn Ramsey, daughter of Jack Ramsey, the great coach, the NBA, who was helping me on all Olympic efforts that goes on. At the door, you'll see this too. Carolyn, stand up. You always got to stand up, Carolyn. Carolyn, she's my chief of staff. I don't want to use this term because that guy from Arkansas got in trouble. But Carolyn is the one I count on during the day, but my wife, Bridget, I count on 24 hours. I got to get that straight. She says I can't bring anything home. I'm going to complete about a 40-year career in a couple years, a year and a half. But I have a lot of these maps, and they're in the back. If you frame them, they're beautiful maps of our city, our world, and all the history of the games, which some of you were a part of, and it's so important. Personally in the games, because the Coliseum in 1971, Detroit was playing the Rams. The elevators were bad, but I got to the games, first year of Monday Night Football, 1970, excuse me. We met, because my brother and I went to the games, and there were no Yellow Jackets, no security. We got to the games. We helped the NFL Films cameramen down with their cases after the Detroit Ram game in 1970 in the Coliseum. And we asked the cameraman if we could be his assistants in the future. And he said, give us your number. And my brother, who went to Occidental, smarter, and he said, no, give us your number, we'll call you. So a little story, I got to work with NFL Films. During the 84 games, all the, Bud Greenspan, the great filmmaker, hired all the NFL film cameramen because they're great cameramen. I was going to be assistant to that. And I told John Ferraro, I'm going to go work for the game. He knew I worked for NFL Films. I'm going to go work for the game. I'm going to work for the game. 6 months out, 3 months out, 2 weeks out. The Friday before the game started on a Thursday night, David? Wednesday night? Friday night? Okay, I was close. I was on Bixel in third, and John asked me not to go to join the film crew and to come with him to the games. And for the 84 games, I got to go to both opening and closing and 24 events. John sat with the diplomats. I sat with the drivers and attachés. And it's pretty close to where they sat. And it was a wonderful experience to see what is done. We got to tell our heritage every year. We should have Olympic week. And I did this before London Games. We gathered all the consulates in front of the great peristyle of the Coliseum. And I'm going to do it here in February before I'm going to invite all the consulates from Southern California. Just a little note, New York, Hong Kong, Los Angeles are the most consulates in the world in those cities respectively. All those internationals, I'm going to invite those who are Olympic countries to salute the athletes of the world and wish everybody well in Russia. And then also sometimes I'd like to work with you, Anita, in summer to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Games of '84. Thank you for that. Always know you only need 8 votes, and that's what John Ferraro got, and Tom Bradley signed it. Let's hear it for the late, great John Ferraro, Tom Bradley.